He got straight to the point, as a lot of people do. Have you ever killed anybody?
Fortaleza, the beautiful forgotten sister of Brazil. Great food, festivals, midget dancers, bike rides, sunburn, beaches, beach sports, crazy drivers, awful food, great music, bad dancing, favelas, workouts, coconut water, culture, karaoke twice, craft beer, cocktails, functional fashion, dune buggies, waterfalls, road trips,
Don't believe me, just watch.
tropical fruit, water sports, water parks, great friends, crazy bar staff, cats and dogs, sunshine, sunsets, beautiful boat trips, car dramas,
Need a kite green and a shower.
and towns built on sand.
If you're gonna be a bear, you may as well be a grizzly. Sunday morning after the festival, didn't have a hangover. Now, I don't drink these days. I'll clarify what I mean by that, because a lot of people say I don't drink, and that could mean a number of things. Could mean that they don't touch a drop because they're scared of having a sniff of it, or if they start, they can't control themselves, can't stop. Some people mean it as in a short-term situation. They could be training for an event or just having dry January. For the time being, they don't drink. There's multiple other circumstances, one like myself. What I mean by I don't drink is that it doesn't mean that I would never touch a drop, or I'm scared of it. I'm scared to be around it. I've got myself to a position, it isn't a habit to drink. It isn't on my conscience that I'm gonna drink. It's not I'm looking for the next opportunity to. Gladly as well, I've got to a state where I could be somewhere where traditionally I would have a drink. If you're out for the day and you chill out relaxing as a bar, oh, let's have a drink. I've got to the position where I don't think like that now. Because normally I'd be like, oh, there's a bar, I'm not working, I'm relaxing, I'm not gonna work tomorrow. Why not? Let's have a drink. But also that allows me to, if I am in a situation, I think, well, do you know what? I do want a drink or two, then I will allow myself to. That hasn't happened easily. Anybody that's read my autobiography will have encountered the final last 20% of the book. During COVID, I'd been discharged from the Royal Marines. My business was closed. I lived on my own, didn't even have caught by the dog. It spiraled into long, dark periods of sitting alone, thinking, analysing, and slipping into depression, and using drink then to get along with it and deal with it. I did go through the phase of I'm not going to touch anything, right? I need to leave it alone, especially for the time being. Maybe one day, I did always leave myself, maybe one day I'll have a few drinks, probably get drunk to a certain level, but in a controlled environment, not sat on my own in the house with no backstop, no borders, nothing to rein me in. It's great. So I'm in that position now where it doesn't happen as a daily occurrence, especially not a daily occurrence, but a common occurrence. And it's good that I'm not in that mindset too, that I can go out and do things without thinking, oh, when are we going to have a beer? So that's where I am with it. But we're in the festival, the girls were drinking. Yeah, I am on holiday. We're in Brazil, it's a festival. I had a couple of the Brahma beers, which I'm not a fan of, to be honest with you. I had a couple, I can leave it now and relax without it. And there was no hangover on the Sunday, which is, of course, a massive benefit. Rebecca had stayed over at her friend's house. Kyla had gone home. Yeah, I was back at Rebecca's on my own. I had a drama getting past the guard, who, of course, rightly so, wouldn't let me in because he didn't know who I was. Rebecca had introduced me to some of them, just not him. He made a phone call and I got in. Was a bit lost on what to do, really. The girls weren't there, don't be to tell me what to do, show me where to go. So first up was to find a pharmacy, which luckily just around the corner because they're on every block out here. And I needed to get some sun cream and some moisturizer, okay, as a priority. So off to find a pharmacy because I am roasting again. The girl quickly realised that I needed assistance. I was wandering around. She didn't speak Portuguese. She didn't speak English. I didn't speak Portuguese. Managed to get me on the Wi-Fi and then we had a conversation via Google Translate. She took me to the suntan aisle, sun cream aisle. I picked up Factor 50. Now to me, Factor 50 is pretty much You're wearing a jumpsuit, nothing's going to get to you. She looked me up and down at the had a vest on again, shook her head, took it off me and replaced it with a Factor 70.
Just managed to get my way through a pharmacy shop with absolutely no Portuguese, so that's a win. And just strolling to the internet cafe now. Yeah, I love it, even though it's warm. I love this kind of weather, just being able to walk around in a vest and shorts. It's just so much more comfortable. I know a lot of people moan they hate the heat, but not me. Been in a lot of hot countries in this world, and touch wood, never suffered with a heat illness or heat injury, anything like that. So we're all built differently, I guess. Some people prefer or can cope with cold weather better than warm, and yeah, I'm quite suited to this weather, so I like it. Never hear me moaning about, oh, it's too hot.
And this was the first of many of her recommendations that turned out to be closed. It might not have been closed, judging by the conversation with her afterwards. Not being from Brazil, it looked closed because it was a big gate and a door that was closed and looked locked. All right, according to her, I could have just knocked on this door. But it looked like someone's house. So I just thought, well, I'm going to start banging on this metal door now. So geezer's going to come out with a shotgun, see what's what. So I decided against that. With no cafe to go to, I quickly looked up another one of Rebecca's recommendations. Park de Coco, big massive park, the Rio Coco. She told me I could hire a bike there and have a look around the park. So quite fancied that. Nice Sunday, get out and about, bit of greenery and away from the traffic. So got the Uber on call. There's Ubers everywhere out here. It's quite funny because the driver, when I approached the Uber and opened the door, he just sort of looked at me. He was like, oh, no. And I was like, Lee, yeah, Lee. Out here, they associate the name Lee with China. Bruce Lee, and a lot of Chinese people's surnames are Lee. So, of course, he saw Lee on the Uber and was expecting a Chinese man to turn up. So I jumped in and he said as much to me, blah, 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 China man, Bruce Lee. And then he chucked me a compliment. First of all, we had to find out a way of communicating. So he got on his little smartphone that he had the maps on. He got Google Translate on there, at which point he told me I looked like an athlete. So I was quite happy with that. As it turns out, I think he was buttering me up for stitching me up. I said, oh, that makes sense. I used to be in the Marines. Bit of conversation about that. He asked, what did I feel about the situation with Israel and Hamas? Within about 3 questions, he got straight to the point, as a lot of people do. Have you ever killed anybody? It's pointless getting into any conversation about that. Anybody who's read my book again, get a certain amount of answers on that. But it wasn't worth delving into. He asked me, did I think I was going to be a general?
General? Probably not.
No?
No.
And then he took me to the gate, which was closed.
Made it to Parque de Coco Park. Bit of a wild goose chase with the Uber driver. He's obviously seen the Sunburn coming a mile off. It's like, I'll have this gringo and I'll get an extra £5 out of him, which he promptly did. Happy days. Threw a few compliments at me as well, just sweetened me up, so it's all good. Said I look like an athlete, so we're taking that one. Happy days. I can only see those bicicleta ones at the minute, which I can't get because I'm not local. I'll have a little wander around now, see if there's any private ones I can get my hands on. Have a little tour around the park. Looks beautiful. Right, Rebecca's absolutely had my pants down with this one. Bikes are only available in the morning, but park's closed because they had a massive fire here, so all the trails are closed, bike or not, so looks like I can't even yomp around it. So I'm just going to stick to this little area here, just have a little nose around.
With my attempt to see the park thwarted, was not to be deterred in having a little walkabout and a day out. So I got an Uber down to the beachfront, so I'll have a little stroll across the seafront. Beira-Mar is sea, Portuguese. And it was great. I had a little stop off at one point. It's a nice little lookout area, nice panoramic across the beach. It was just a great collection of very enviable lifestyle. Being somebody who loves being outdoors, living somewhere where it's not always suitable to be outdoors or enjoyable, it's great to be somewhere where it's just warm, comfortably warm. You're not just sweating profusely the whole time. And there's all sorts of outdoor activities going along across that stretch, ranging from tourist type activities, people try to get money off you, shows, people doing magic and juggling acts, things like that, street entertainment, little stalls with coconut water, bottles of water, little like open grills, and also they got areas where the locals are outdoors just playing volleyball, foot volleyball, skateboarding. There's a skate park there, it's purpose built, soccer, basketball. There were just a lot of people out just strolling around gently and enjoying themselves. Feeling a bit peckish after my little trek across the city from the park. A couple of nice areas, a place called Ilha right on the front, beautiful little spot, looked really plush inside, people dressed a little bit more upmarket than I was. There was a British themed place, fish and chips, a fish and chipper I think it was called. So I'll give it that a miss. Plumped for something in between. It was on the beach, the tables were sort of out on the sand.
Proper out of my depth with the menu and being on my own with the language. Very little English spoken here.
Before I came, Hyla said to me, learn a little bit. She's like, nobody speaks it here. And I took that with a pinch of salt because you go to a lot of places and generally they speak some kind of English, unless it's somewhere really out there, or Brazil, as it turns out. Especially in the hospitality areas. There's restaurants and bars, the Brits are going to be there drinking and eating, or Americans, right? Most of the English-speaking world, nothing. Like basic words that I was saying to them, you just weren't getting. Don't take that as me being, oh bloody hell, they don't speak English, or it isn't that at all. We are the lazy ones, which has been forced upon us because most of the places we go in the world do speak English. And yeah, we just become a little bit lazy with it. We just expect that everybody is going to be speaking English. And when they're not, we're like, oh, right, this is an issue. Hyla was completely right. I guess if you go to the more established hotels, you're going to have some people who speak English. It's difficult to navigate. If you got data on your phone or Wi-Fi, you can use Translate, but it's manageable. If you're just after something to eat or drink, you can just point, you'll get something. Whether it's a right or wrong thing remains to be seen. In this case, it was the worst pizza I have ever had in my life, and that is saying something because pizza is the one thing, and generally, if it's bad, it's still going to be quite tasty. Bread, cheese, tomato and herb sauce, meat. But this was awful. Just spongy, soft, and there's just no flavour on it. It was awful. It cost about £12 as well, which not expensive, but not cheap or not the norm. A lot of things are a lot cheaper than they are back home. Disappointed by that, and then getting ambushed, trying to pay. He then found out how to use Google Translate when he was trying to tell me that I have to give him 10% extra for a tip. There was no argument, I just told him no. He was just trying it on because I was a gringo, not with anybody from the area, and he thought he could just say to me, it's standard to tip 10% when it isn't, because I know it isn't. My card then wouldn't work. When they ask you what you paying with, they ask you credit or debit, or debit. I've figured out they class in my cards as credit cards. Once we went in somewhere with Rebecca or Hyla and it wasn't working again, and I said, tell you what, try it with credit. It did, worked, and now it's been working everywhere ever since. Yeah, so he tried to con me out of the extra 10%, wasn't having it. If the pizza was decent, I probably would have gone, yeah, why not? Nice location. Seemed like a nice lad, apart from trying to rob me. But no, I just wasn't feeling it. And he won't get his 10%. Awful pizza done. Rebecca sent me a message saying she wanted to meet, so met her down at Beer Mar. Quite busy down here in the evening. Really nice atmosphere, especially with the sun going down, sun setting. A few sort of little gatherings on the beach. People partying. It seemed to be a lot busier than it was yesterday, Sunday evening. I think a lot of people just making the most of the last of the weekend. With the sun going down, it's a little bit cooler and get out, walk. A lot of people running. A lot of homeless people around, I'll be honest with you. You could say about anywhere in the world these days. It's very rarely I go somewhere and there's not a lot of homeless people, especially if it's a city with at least a decent amount of tourism. Right in your face, sort of almost bullying you or trying to guilt you that you're not giving it to them, or hurrying you, saying, well, come on, hurry up, give me the money, get a move on. It's funny reflection for me is, because you look at homeless people in the UK and you think you got a very miserable existence in many cases, because sleeping on the streets, it's freezing cold, pissing down with rain. Rightly or wrongly, I look at these and think, well, it's probably not that bad over here. It's nice and warm. It's Brazil. It's a beautiful country. But of course, I'm just messing around with that. It's not an easy lifestyle, no matter the temperature. But yeah, that part of me does go, well, at least you're not freezing cold.
Never to be ones to accept failure or quit. You finally made it. All right, Rebecca.
It's my favorite flavor.
Yeah.
It's the best one. Everybody who comes to Fortaleza should have it.
There you go.
It's the best one.
There you go. Tip from the top. Mint choc chip ice cream in Fortaleza.
You tried?
Yeah, it's good.
It is?
Right, Monday, take 2. I'm fuming.